Welcome to Deeper Perspectives, the greatest spearfishing podcast. So the last episode I did on our most common diving method, which is sort of like that ambush style. But the second most common thing we do is use the flashlight. So here Brandon's gonna shoot a Mampachi, but I mean it's obvious why the flashlight would help you see Mampachis, but it really helps you find a lot of different fish. I think this dive he gets a roi, but there's also, tow owls, goats, of course, uluas, umilus, nohus, pananus, all sorts of things live in the caves, and you really miss them if you don't have a flashlight. These next three dives are all at just one small little cave in the reef where we saw Roy swim into, and the GoPro doesn't pick it up at all. And in real life, I could really just barely see him with the flashlight. It's just a small little handheld flashlight, but there was no way you would have seen him at all without it. And if you had tried to swim up to this cave, he would have darted out the back, or if you're familiar with these types of holes, there's holes within holes within holes where they can get away. Before I go up, I look back there and there's an alaihi and a big Mampachi. So Brandon goes down next, and real quick, he takes care of the Mampachi. It was a pretty big one too. It's only been in maybe like the last year or so that I've really started diving with the flashlight. And before that, I'm old, so I dove a long time and wasted time without one. And this one, unfortunately, my camera aim isn't as good, but at least you can see my flashlight there. It's the Volador. I don't know, it's just on Amazon. And we got a few flashlights, but that one is probably my favorite one. I got the alaihi. This one is actually the smaller species of alaihi, but it still can use those gill spines, although it's not quite as rough as the bigger species, which Brandon actually shoots one of the nicer ones a little later. And here comes the puhi. If you've got a kumu or a joe on the end of your shaft, and I'm sorry, but you're gonna have to scrap that eel. But yeah, if it's just a Mampachi, then you just say shucks and be glad you get out of there with both your hands. One thing I will say about the flashlight is you gotta go down ready to do some damage. If you go down and you're not ready to shoot and you're just shining a flashlight directly in these fish's face, they are not gonna like that. You go down, you're gonna see some of the biggest tow owls you've ever seen, like in the back of these caves, but they're not gonna stick around for too long. They're gonna slip out the back pretty quick, and that goes for pretty much all the species of fish, actually.